Hey everybody, welcome to the 1804 show, chapter 2. I'm your host, Dollar Will, and this is episode 294. Just want to send special shout out to all my subscribers, a little bit of everybody who've been tuning in and stuff like that. But yeah, I got a special host, my homie Greg, finna come on this mug, and we finna chat, we finna talk. So I'm just waiting for him to come up in here. What up, bro?
Hold on, bro. Let me see. Can you see me? Uh, there you go.
Hello. Yeah, I can see you now.
What's up, brother?
Hey, what up?
What's up? How you doing tonight?
Man, I'm good, man. I couldn't wait to get to this show tonight, man. You know, we already talked about it, man. It's highly anticipated, so it's been a pop right now. So I'm
It
good
is.
though. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be on here, and or inviting me on here though. I see you doing big things, so and the consistency you keep building though. So I wish you peace and blessings and much success on your show.
Man, thank you, man. Likewise, bro.
Thank you, bro. For real. But yeah, let's get to it.
Yeah, man. So let's just go all the way from the beginning. Um So, how about you introduce yourself to the viewers and everything first?
All right. So, a lot of people, as we grew up together, bro, going to school from the high, to know me as Greg, but where I go by as a teacher or things I produce by is Imhotep the Great. I'm from Saginaw, pretty much. I'm a conscious teacher. Also, I do music, art. I got a few different business. I do videography and things of that nature, but pretty much the main thing, like my platform, what I try to build is teaching, educating the people about different things of knowledge, our history, spirituality, and politics and things of that nature. So, just trying to build a whole brand because we got a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of information that's been hidden from us that we don't know about. And I took on that path about 10 years ago. I started around 2000 and consciousness around 2009. And then, you know, really got to teaching. I started going to Detroit doing a few different lectures around 2012. Kind of took a break from it, started having kids. I got married and everything. So like around this time, I always been sharing different things on Facebook. I don't think I ever told people really the true story of the journey or behind the scenes. Like a lot of my family and friends remember when I was going to Detroit doing lectures and stuff. Uh, and like I said, I took a break. And now back 2021, after the pandemic popped off, I'm like, man, I got to get back out here. So, this year I've been putting more stuff together, putting more material out and messing with the music with it as well.
Yeah, man, congratulations on that, bro, because you really shocked me with the music, man. I didn't know you rap though like that. So, you've been doing that
Yeah.
for how long?
uh Rapping, me and a couple of my friends, we was like a little crime mob back in the day. We made one song though, but I always used to write poetry. So from writing poetry though, I always kept that. I did few poetry shows. So basically, rapping is poetry over beats. So I took the poetry and just put it over beats. I have a lot of raps I write down, but I never really was pursuing it as rapping. So I was like, hey, you only live once. I get to the point like, it's up to you. If you want something, you got to push it and manifest it yourself. Forget what anybody else say. So I was
Hmm.
like, I'm alive. So I was like, let me go ahead and try it. One hit can change your whole life. An idea can change your life. So, I'm like, let me put it out there, see if people like it though.
Yeah, like I said, bro, that shit was dope, man. I couldn't I ain't gonna say I couldn't believe it, but it was just like,
No, I get a lot of
what?
people be saying that, bro.
I was like,
I get a
what?
lot. Hey, I was having people hit me up like, bro, I ain't know you could rap like that. Like, my own mama was like, she's like, I ain't know you could rap. Like, a lot of people was like, I didn't know you could rap like that. So I was like, I got a really good response from it. So, I got I got some more stuff cooked up. I'm gonna keep putting out there on the music tip, but also with the music, I'm gonna get back to the lectures as well, doing that in corporate, because that's the main thing I really want to put out. But I'm building a platform with the music as well. But I appreciate the love with the music though. I'm on. I got some good stuff I've been writing lately though. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop that, put that out there as well though. But yeah, thank you, brother, too. I appreciate that.
Hey man, no problem, man. Like we need that now, man, because this music scene and this music industry, bro, like they just really corrupting the youth, bro. Like people
Yeah,
just think that this talent and shit, man. It's it's just like to me, I feel like it ain't how it was because we had some ignorant shit growing up, but it was a balance. It wasn't like it
yeah, and
wasn't the whole industry.
yeah, I always say that too, bro. Like it was a balance when we was growing up. When we was growing up, it was always music about selling dope, selling drugs, killing, murdering, and stuff like that. But I don't think ours was even as out there. But with that, you had a whole nother, you can go listen to a whole nother thing all day about love and loving your woman. And you know what I'm saying? We had a mix of music. We had more of a mix. And I just think the industry, or a lot of people behind the industry,
Hmm.
the people who control the industry target us for a lot of different reasons. They put that music out there to keep us caught in that lower vibratorial energy, though. And like I said, we listened to it too, but I think we was more protected from how they pushing it now because we had a balance in the music, though. So yeah, we got to protect our babies too. That's our responsibility.
Oh, no doubt, man. And I really just be careful with um how I conduct myself because I got little ones that look up to me. So I
Right.
always try to make sure that I just practice self-discipline and everything, use proper dialogue, carry myself a certain way because they just think that like, you know, when you're a man and stuff like that, because we're men,
Right.
and yes, we hung around gangsters, we hung around people, that sold and that told and this and that, but they were trying to keep us away from that life. But now you got the OGs and the big homies, man. It just promoting it more or influencing these young boys like that's
Well,
masculinity, and it's not.
yeah, in a sense, when it comes to like on the destruction half, like
Hmm.
I agree with you. The kids looking up to us, and then it does have to be a thing where people teaching people in a different direction to go. But a lot of the OGs, that's the life they know. You know what I'm saying? That's what they've been taught. I think go back to the bigger issue of the whole system. The system pushes us out. The system pushes black men out. You got to think like what people don't really want to talk about, the elephant in the room. This system, the elephant in the room. Excuse me. This system is not trying to build a system with healthy, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially
Hmm.
healthy and stable black men. They don't want that because that means a European man got to compete with us. They don't want to compete with us. They know mentally, spirit. I'm talking about the highest tier. I'm not talking about like the European men and women next door to you or you may work with at the highest tier. People who run this world, they know it was a time we used to rule the world, and they know we don't know we used to rule the world. So even when it comes to our hoods and they done push people out to that particular lifestyle, a lot of men only know that lifestyle because this whole system has pushed us out. They locked us out in this economic way. They actually locked the black men out on the thing because they're not trying to build a whole society. It's 50 million black men. I ain't gonna say it's 50 million black people just in the United States. So let's say if it's 25 million men, I know that's probably not the right number, but hypothetically, if it's 25 million men, do we really
Hmm.
think United States want to see 25 million healthy, strong, economically strong, healthy minded black men with their family? They don't. So they want to project that image. They want to make sure we pushed out to have that image and keep like that's the only image we can have, or that's the only way for us to get it. So they
Yeah.
feel they got my whole thing with that, they got the thing in it, but we got to accept accountability how we get, going back to your point, we have to accept accountability how we carry ourselves as well. Uh because the kids is looking up to us. Like at some point, what I'm saying, we all been part of the problem. We all did something, been part of the problem. I know I've been part of the problem many times, but as we
Of course.
unlearn, yeah, we have to unlearn to relearn. So as we unlearn to relearn, that's when we start saying, okay, yeah, Because you can look at your own life when you is being a pilot. Is that putting you in a position to win, or is that putting you in a position to lose? Because that's their trap. They want to put you in a position to lose. They want you to be in a chaos. They want you to be in a despair, you know. So, and once we see what position us being a problem is, then you can look at it and be like, hey, I'm not going to do that no more. And you can go ahead and teach. We can see the error and teach the young men a different way, because it's like you said, it's our responsibility to teach the young men, you know, and our daughters too, because our daughters need that security from their fathers, and our not just our daughters, our nieces, our cousins, our sisters, you know, our women need that from us as men too, and we need that from them. So, you know, it's a whole just system of chaos these people done created, you know.
Oh, I agree, man. And my question to you is, um, do you think by us integrating into their society that we lost sight of our own selves as well? Do you think that?
Absolutely.
You,
Absolutely. I think for us integrating in society, we was forced to have our own things. We was forced to have our own schools. We was forced to have our own parks. We was forced to look at our community. We was forced to look at the within ourselves how we was gonna eat. We was forced to things that just people naturally, that any people naturally has, you know, for themselves, like they food, clothing, shelter, and water. We was forced to get that from ourselves. As soon as they let us in, we just ran in, you know, and we forgot about our neighborhoods though. And that's why we
yeah,
have a lot of the situation we have today. And that's why we are also in a situation where we begging certain political parties, not even begging, we're waiting for them to do something. We're in a toxic relationship now with those political parties because we're not doing for themselves. We're expecting them to do something for us. And they not, because they only come around on political time, and they promise you things that don't do it. So I think integration was definitely, it was a part of the process. When you look at the bigger picture and the bigger story of our people, even in the 1950s and 60s, we didn't know what we was integrating in. Remember, they didn't let us read for 400 years. So we didn't really know what we was. Well, apart. Remember, at that time, it was a big group of people who didn't want to integrate. The Malcolm X's, a lot of people who was anti-integration. They didn't want to integrate, but you know, it was the other way. And even at the end, Martin Luther King said that, you know, I'm afraid I'm integrating my people into a burning fire. And when you look at any Martin Luther King drive in the United States, you can see if it's in a fire. You know what I'm saying? 95% of Martin Luther King drives is in the ghettos, and you see how people live it. So integration definitely, I think it was more uh, disaster than anything, though. But I will say everything happened for a reason. So it's a positive aspect of integration. If we really ever focus on that, the positive aspect of integration is now that we have a whole workforce of different people that we can take and build our own culture and society. You know, you
yeah.
got teachers, people who run school districts, social workers. You know, all we have to do is just get on one accord. We have construction workers, you know, people who've been in different positions of powers. Then you got a whole underground of people who have, like ourselves, who just black men and black women who just have information and knowledge. I'll say we got enough knowledge. Black people don't understand this. We have enough knowledge. If we start talking to each other and start taking the knowledge serious, to build our own universities already, and with the skilled workforce. So integration did do that. Like we have everybody, we have anything we need to build a society because people are educated, you know. So but overall I think integration definitely made us forget about who we was and forget about our communities and forget about our cities and just our self-worth. You know, we begging people for nothing, you know what I'm saying, for us to take care of it, for them to take care of us. And that's just not the reality, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Because it's really easy to be a beggar than a worker, than a striver, than a person who got it out the mud, man. And I have always kind of like knew that I had to fight, real harder than my peers or my siblings and stuff like that.
Right.
I just, because I just always knew like success is gonna be a sacrifice. It's gonna be one of those things that you're gonna pretty much have to um, proclaim, and just
Yeah.
because that nobody giving us anything,
They
and
not.
we come from a country, bro, like because I always said this, it just always was weird how we just we was considered like property. You know, we was practically currency at once upon a time ago, and we still haven't gotten our reparations. We haven't gotten our money that we worth. You know, even though like we weren't chained up and this and that, but we come from descendants who were, and it's just kind of like upsetting knowing
Yeah.
that you that this country had helped build countries. You know what I'm saying? Like we gave so much money to Japan, we gave so much money to Germany to rebuild, but no Black Wall Streets, no so-called all black towns that we was either killed or we was ran out of. It was several in the South that we had our own black businesses, and all that shit got destroyed, and we had never been compensated. Or you know what I'm saying, they wait like to 60 or 70 years to give us an apology. So I feel like, you know, deep down that's like an insult. You
No,
know
for
what I'm
real.
saying?
No, for
You
real,
know.
bro. It is. It is. And then go back to what you're saying, like, building Black Wall Street, everything we try to build is destroyed. And go back to what we saying, like what I said earlier, and what we were talking about, like how they don't want to see the upper mobility of black men, women, and children. They don't want that. But that goes back to at the end of the day, they they have our land. So, that's what
Hmm.
it goes back to. It like we're now from Africa. And then once people start really realizing that and really realizing what that means, when it is not a conspiracy and or anything, like that's the real true actual history. This is our land. So if I steal your land and I then beat you down to the point that you don't even know you own your land. So far, I take you from being an indigenous or what they call an Indian. Have you ever heard you got Indian in your family? I've been asking every black person that. You know what I'm saying? I ask everybody that. Everybody say yes. It's because at one time your family still held their indigenous title. So when somebody was calling themselves an Indian, they was just calling themselves an indigenous title. And the United States made us switch over to black. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or Negro colored and stuff. They kept classifying us.
Hmm.
Till they got to African American. And by the time they started, because think in the 80s, before like the 50s and 60s, a lot of Africans didn't live over here. Only people was here was black people of us. The Negroid from America who they said they enslaved. Uh,
Hmm.
in the 80s and the 90s, the Africans started coming over here from Nigeria and Ghana. So they had African Americans. So they mixed us. They convinced us through Jesse Jackson to start going with the title now African American. So I say that all to say, yeah, when it comes to the reparation conversation, for us to get reparations, we got to start with the truth. You know what I'm saying? They keep us in an abyss of being an illusion, and people don't want to talk about the truth, but we have to talk about that truth that we are from America. Like that's our land. So, and if that since that is the truth, then you will see why it's a liquor store on every corner. They don't want you to know that. Then you will see why every time you build the Black Wall Street, they tear it down. Because I have to keep you in the mental state and a lower vibration. Then you will see why even in music, a destruction, everything we will see, understand that because at the end of the day, they got our land. And, that's the truth. And people think when you're saying that you're dissing Africa. No, that's not a diss to Africa. Africa is a beautiful continent, has beautiful places. But prior to enslavement, when Christopher Columbus rolled up and invaded America, it was a Negroid continent, you know, and
Hmm.
that's fact. And I grew up on when I came into consciousness, I was on the Africa thing, loved Africa, Africa, a beautiful place. We are Aboriginal people,
Hmm.
but it's American Aboriginals, it's African Aboriginals, it's Australian Aboriginals, and it's Asian Aboriginals. And we are the American Aboriginal, and we've been in America since the beginning of time. And that just takes the depth of what they have done to even more levels of being demonic and evil and wicked. But that just tells us how even more powerful we are because we still alive through all that. You feel me? So at the end of the day, but for us to get everything we need with the reparation conversation, we got to start there because then we stand in the truth. If we go to European people talking about getting reparations or the government talking about getting reparations, that we're still talking about, oh, I'm from Africa. I took a DNA test and they told me they're going to look at these people, going to look at you like, oh, we still got them. When we start understanding that we from this continent, like from America, they're going to be like, okay, they waking up. You know what I'm saying? Because if they pay us, that means they don't want to talk about the reparations. That's what they gave us, because they pay us. They got to pay the Jamaicans. They got to pay the Haitians. They got to pay the
Hmm.
fucking Brazilians. They got to pay the fucking Afro Mexicans, the Trinidad Tobagans, the Cubans, the black Puerto Ricans. They have to pay a whole slew of people because they went all over the earth doing this same thing, though. So yeah, it's a shame that they try to hold us back because they don't want us to have upward mobility. Because upward mobility, we might find out what we find it out, and it's so much that we still don't know what these people have done. But yeah, it's 10 times deeper than what it is. But we blessed though.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. And are you familiar of how we got the red, white, and blue? You familiar with that?
Nope, I'm not.
Okay. Well, the Confederate flag, right? That was
Yeah,
originally our flag.
I believe that. I heard that. I just started kind of getting into that, learning more about diving into the South, like far as the Confederacy. So go ahead, bro. I'm listening. I'm interested.
Yeah, because the original Confederate flag had an indigenous person on it in the middle,
Yeah.
but they removed that when they became the Confederacy because they didn't have any idea of what the flag was going to be. So they invaded a whole bunch of different tribes, um, burned their tribes and conquered their flag. That's how the game, conquered the flag came from.
Right.
It originated from that. So they took the indigenous person off the Confederate flag and just pretty much just wiped it and made it their own.
Yeah. And bro, they did that, and I definitely 100% believe they did that, or believe they did that, because at the end of the day, they have done that with everything, though. You know what I'm saying? History don't have any breaks in it, though. You know what I'm saying? Like you asked me earlier, like far as how did I get started, just to dive there to say just about the history. Like when I first started this started with some Illuminati. You remember them days everybody like the Illuminati and stuff?
Yeah.
Like yeah, the Illuminati is going to get us. I was one of them niggas. Like I was like the
Yeah.
Illuminati, like. But then coming to as I got into it, like it was really real. It is like behind the industry. It is Satan worshipers and all this stuff, though. But I left the Illuminati. I started reading about the government, and I started learning things about what the government was doing, like just how the government is structured. The Republican and Democrat Party is the same party, and is ruled by the elite, and the bankers and the corporations are the ones who really rule the world. Then I left the learning about the government and went into learning about history, world history, the Greeks, the Romans, and everything. Then I got into ancient Black history, and that's when I got the Black history. That's where the teaching about 2012. That was a span early between 2010 and 12, but 2012, when I got into Black history, I was like, damn, it fucked me up. I said, the Black man used to rule the world, and that's when I really just started learning a lot about Africa. Like and Egypt, like Egypt was like it just tied. I just went to like damn Egypt, like I just understood Egypt, like okay, they acknowledge the information come out of Egypt, and then a lot of other places in Africa, and just even today, how Africa is just such a beautiful place. But after that, like around 2000, and even when I was reading about Africa, I started learning through Dr. Ivan Van Sertima that he was saying black people were in America, Africans was in America first. So I was like, okay, well, Africans in America first. And I started studying and I started learning more. But then when I
Hmm.
started studying American history, that's when the keys really open. Like,
Hmm.
okay, like it made sense. The transition, we're not African. They said that shit because we both Aboriginal people you know. So they said, "Oh, y'all from Africa." So at the end of the day, from that, they didn't stole everything. They didn't flip the whole world. They actually is lying to the whole world about history because you're taking a whole continent of people and a whole history of a continent of people and their accomplishments and everything we did on Earth. Because under American, because we're the real Americans, like they Black
Hmm.
American, we're American. We're the
Yeah.
first Americans. Everybody else is European Americans, but they want us to believe that we're an immigrant. We're not immigrants. We're prisoners of war, and we are the
Facts.
descendants. We're the descendants of the prisoners of war.
Right.
And that history is under Indian wars in history. You gotta go to
Hmm.
Indian wars, and once you go to under Indian wars and read books about, it's a book called Indian Wars and the Captivity, and it goes through all the different wars in North America, United States history, and that's how so many tribes became prisoners of war. And then they
Hmm.
don't tell you, like you said, they stole the flag or they flipped the flag. They flipped
Hmm.
the slave trade. It's so
Yeah.
many records. People don't know it's an Indian slavery. You can look up a book called by a man called Alan Galley, the Indian slave trade, and it's another one called the other slavery. And they're just talking about how America don't even teach it was an Indian slavery. Why would they teach it Indian slavery? Because you learn it's an Indian slavery. You was like, oh, the black transatlantic slave trade they tell you about is really the Indian slavery. But they don't want you to know, like, indigenous people were enslaved, and that's what they were trading. And they were sending them from America over to Europe and Africa because they conquered and colonized and invaded this land.
Hmm.
They were sending them over there. So, at the end of the day, they flipped everything around. They flipped the whole world history around. They took America and Americans out of world history. And that's what we're living in today. That's why so much chaos in all the cities in the United States where black people live, because it's a missing link to our thing, but it's coming out. People know, like, this is becoming a common thing. Like, people know, like, oh, like, we the indigenous people, we were here first. But yeah, they took us just out of history. They flipped everything around. They flipped the slave trade around. They taught us that through school, a whole opposite way. The slave trade is real. It did happen, but they flipped it around.
Yeah.
So we with that Confederate flag. That's what they do. That what the devil do. Yes. And when I say
Yeah.
devil, I mean all white people are the devil. I'm not like on that race. Race is something they created. That's a caste system, where
Yeah. Of
they put the
course.
white people, at the top and the people they label as black at the bottom. Race is a caste system. So I'm not gonna say I don't believe that white people are monolithic, that every white person is a wicked, evil person. The only thing I can say, I don't have time to pick out who's the good and the bad, just like my own people. Vibration and energy is everything and truth is everything. But the difference with our people, I have to deal with these people. You know what I'm saying? Every day. I love so, and I know what they did to our people, and like us, like when you talk about that community and us walking upright and changing our ways, because we know people looking at us, nobody's going to do it for us because nobody's going to go as deep enough in the history, but other black people to look for the history and tell the people. Nobody, the president and the Senate is not going to come tell us this type of information. It's only been people who've been of our own people tell us the information. And yeah, it may be some white people tell us the information, but going to the true depths of the information and the knowledge we need to know, it's going to be our people who teach that and give us that.
Yeah. And I also explained to like a few people that there were some black people that came off a boat too, but they weren't slaves. They were Moors, and because it would all make sense. Because how else um they will like be more accepted? You know what I'm saying? As far as like,
And that's the truth we got to talk about too. It was a lot of, even when we talk about Indian slavery, Indian wars, we got to get out of white man history black, because the white man took the history and he put himself at the top and say, I'm the greatest, I done did everything, I done invented everything. He ain't invented shit, we invented everything. He took the shit we had and create, he didn't, all this electricity, internet and shit, that shit came from us. When they conquered America, America was the Atlantis, the light of the real world. We have been there lighting people on the earth. We the oldest, most civilized people on the planet. That's why at our worst, we still, any other race went through slavery like we went through it, would have been broke the fuck down and can't even function. We still can function because we the oldest race of people, the American Negro, along with the Africans too.
yeah,
But the
yeah,
Aborigine is the oldest people on earth. But the American Aborigine actually went around the earth teaching all over the earth. We the first people to get off the shores and go everywhere. We built the colony of Egypt, and that truth gonna come out. A lot of people gonna be like, oh, that's bullshit. That's gonna come out because it's books about it. Like the European at the highest levels knows the American, know we the Hebrews. But going to the Moors, I say all that to say the the American people or the Hebrew people were living up in Europe. So back before 1492, when Christopher Columbus came over here, a Moor, you know what I'm saying? Christopher
yeah.
Columbus definitely is a Moor, and he wasn't
Right.
on the side of it was good Moors and bad Moors, but you got to go into Europe, and you got to go into Europe and understand what was going on in Europe back in 1492 before Queen Isabella, Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand commissioned Christopher Columbus, gave Christopher Columbus permission to come over to Americas and invade America. They came with the intention of invading America because
Hmm.
America was the Hebrew homeland and the homeland of the Hebrew people. So they came with the intentions of conquering the Hebrew people homeland. So the Moors were even Hebrew people. The Moors were Hebrew people living over in Europe, and the Hebrew people ruled Europe. So and again, the Hebrew people are the Americans. So over in Europe or Eurasia, the Hebrew people have been fighting against the Roman Catholic Church and the Roman Empire. They have been fighting them for years. So by the time they had did something called the Inquisitions, and this is in history. Anybody can look this up, the Spanish Inquisitions. And they were persecuting the Jews. Again, that's a Hebrew person or American. The Moors, that's a Hebrew person or American. They were persecuting people, and it was some Africans mixed in with that. Over there was Africans and Americans living in Eurasia. But
Yep.
from them taking over, and taking these people property, torturing these people, forcing these people to switch over to Christianity. Some of these people really wasn't practicing Christianity. They were acting like they was, because the Roman Catholic Church had took Christianity and used it as a tool to conquer the whole earth. So from that, a lot of Moors, or even some of the, let's say the Jews, the Moors or the Jews, who are all Hebrew people, just different religious sects of Hebrew people, or Americans and Africans, uh the Moors were over there. Some of them went against the grain. They had to stole everything, and they came over here and helped colonize America. They gave them the maps to get over here, because at this time, only really people who know how to colonize the earth since the beginning of time, not colonize, sell the seeds of the earth since the beginning of time, was the Aboriginal people, both the Americans and the Africans. We knew how to get around the whole earth. The Europeans and the other races of people did not know, and the Asians, the white Asians, or the Mongoloid Asian, they didn't know how to get around the earth. So we knew how to get around them, but around here. But in 1492, that was their first time being able to step land in America, which was the Hebrew homeland, or the homeland of the Moors and of the Jews who was living in Europe at the time. So what Christopher Columbus really did, when the truth come out, people found out he was treason. And a lot of people, but they had been so disconnected from America and the culture over here, that they were Europeanized, a lot of them. But all the Moors, some Moors was fighting against them, and some Moors was down with the Roman Catholic Church. And unfortunately, it's a lot of that in history. So that's why I said we got the black man history and fantasizing history, like, oh well, we were kings and queens and we was way at the higher nature and everything. But we got to learn from our past, that when people sometimes get frustrated, they'll sell you out, and our own people sold us out too. And that's okay, because it wasn't the majority of our people. Because if it was the majority of our people, it won't be no such thing as a ghetto.
Facts.
Right. There'll be no such thing as a ghetto. All our people sold us out. So we got to look at the positive. Really, most people in the ghetto are prisoners of war, and their ancestors was fighting against that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of us, or even the suburban niggas, like you might in the suburbs now, not to lead them out. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Man, I'm enjoying this conversation, man.
Yeah, I am too, bro. I was excited about this.
Yeah, because I always just try to just inform our people, man. Like, everything that we was taught in school, it's not facts. It was all
not.
made up. It was all made up. Most of it, I would say, at least 95% of it's falsified, and you would get 5% truth, but they had to, add on lies and stuff like that. Because I even have to explain to certain people that not even all our people were slaves. A lot of us owned slaves too. So, because slavery was big business, like anything like prisons and the cotton industry and all this other stuff, like it was an industry.
And that's what people, the plantation planters, the plantation was a corporation. And that's what people got to understand. So I always ask people, where did all the slave master go? They still they still own the corporations. You know what I'm saying? These are the people who really ruled the world. The slave owners, the people slavery was a corporation, was a business. So some of our people own slaves too. So the brutal treatment of the slaves, and a lot of people who they caused wasn't even on the plantation. They were just the people that took their land. They was working the land. But it was some instances, it was that brutality. See, with the school district and European imperialism teaches, they eyed in on that slavery where they was whooping your ass. They don't teach you. It was a corporation.
Mm-hmm.
They don't teach you it was a real business. They had insurance on their slaves. They don't teach you that these people was really indentured servants.
Yeah,
They don't teach you. They don't teach you all that. They teach you is zero in on slavery, because they don't want you to start asking questions that slavery is just a piece of it. And unfortunately our people, even like how we saying indigenous Aboriginal people, over here we was trading each other too, because we was fussed. But that's going back to we doing the same shit we was doing. When you look at the ghetto of America and you look at the ghettos, like how niggas be killing each other because of disrespect. Because once Christopher Columbus came over here, and Hernando Cortez, And De Soto and all these different European explorers, conquistadors, or conquerors, which is their official title. They
Mm-hmm.
are conquistadors or conquerors. Once they started coming over here to America, which people got to understand, when they first got to America, they said America was the most beautiful city. They had the most beautiful cities they had ever seen, especially down in Mexico, which people have to understand. Mexico is a part of America. It's just a different country in America. And black people was living there. You know, if you look up the tombs in Mexico, they rim it just like Egypt. That's why I can stand confidently and say the Egyptians are the ones who, the Mayans or the American people went over and built Egypt. That's why niggas can tap into Egypt knowledge and be like, oh, they just tap into it because that's our true knowledge. Even Israel, Hebrew, all that stuff is still of the Egyptians and the Mayans. All that is the same stuff. But go back to what I'm saying. When they all came over here, the explorers to conquer, invade, start war and fighting, it was the most beautiful cities they had ever seen. They thought they was in a dream. They had flowers, running water, all these things, because America is surrounded by two oceans. You got the Pacific Ocean on the west, the Atlantic Ocean on the east. These people could not get here for why it was warfare over in Eurasia, Africa, and all that stuff. There was no warfare over here like that. This was the place of peace still on earth until 1492, until
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Columbus came here. So that truth has to be told through the school district so we can know what we're really dealing with. Because once they came over and conquered this peaceful place, that pressure, that anger, and all that stuff, after so many, this been going on, this the 530th year. So this been going on for 530 years. So we start taking that out on each other. Think about somebody conquer your homeland and killed your mama, your sister, your brother, you angry. Then it's different European nations. You got the Spanish came first, then the French came, then the English came. You got some Indian, everybody trying to get what they fit in. Some tribes, some Aboriginal tribes working with the French, some working with the English, some working with the Spanish. Then the other one thinks now you the ops. So it just start us going against each other until we
Mm-hmm.
all feel where we're at now. We don't even know what tribe we're from. We just know we one group of people. We just a major tribe in the United States, which we still they don't even look like that we the tribe in the United States. Like if you in Michigan, you eat the same foods pretty much people eat in Texas. If you in Florida, you eat the same thing in New York. Like it may be different cultures and different little slang, but a black person from California can sit with a black person from Tennessee and talk to each other in English, in our own form of English, with slang words, and white people don't even know what we saying. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? They don't
Yeah.
even know what we're saying because we are
Mm-hmm.
our own tribe. And once we start seeing that and we understand we still in this position as we killing each other, our ancestors did that same thing. And even today, our brothers and sisters in despair in the hood killing each other because the lack of opportunities and because these people conquered our land in history. And we got to talk about that one day. Uh, yeah, that despair is still here. So yeah, we was fighting with each other and we brung a lot of this shit on
Mm.
ourselves. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's some dope. It's a deep history, but it's rewarding once we understand it because it can then take us to the thing to really be able to take the power to get our power back. Because God, what God would want us not to have our land and our power?
Exactly.
You
And
know, for real.
yeah, because a lot of people still think that we under that Deuteronomy curse, that chapter 28, verse 68 thing, but it's deeper than that. And
It's deeper than that way. I feel like that has something to do with it, but I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like even when you think looking at the Bible, a lot of that stuff in the Bible is a book that our ancestors a lot of different writings from our ancestors telling our story. When you
hmm
look at Egypt and you see, or even in Mexico in the Aztecs, when you see all these things, these murals and paintings, that's all the story in the Bible that's been wrote down that these people then took and gave back to us and mixed around, but they didn't really read the book for real at all. So once we remember we didn't read for 500 years, they didn't let us read for about 450 years, whatever. We just stopped being able to really legally read about 60, 70 years ago. So they changed the world around. So with this, they didn't really they started reading our history because we was enslaved or we was trying to struggle to survive. Slavery is really being enslaved to the economic system, them controlling the resources, taking our resources and rationing them back to us, taking the soil, the cotton, the agriculture, everything, giving it back to us. That's
hmm
what it really is. So, but these people, damn, I forgot my point. I was about to say something really good though. My bad, bro.
Hey, it's all
Damn.
good, man. But yeah, I was just um informing people about the N word because the N word means West African, and I tell people like don't refer to me as the N word because I am not West African. See, y'all don't even know what the fuck that shit mean, but y'all say that shit every day, all day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but y'all
Yeah.
don't even know the originality and stuff like that. So ignorance can be bliss, but ignorance is a choice as well.
All right. Now, give me that, like, give me the drop on that. Like, when you say it mean West African.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, yeah. See, I got a different perspective on it. It could, and it's a lot of the same meanings. It could be, what I'm saying, with everything though. Like, I'll be like, the N word go back from what I studied that go back to the word Naga. And
Hmm.
the original people on the earth called themselves Nagas. Like, so the Aboriginal people will be of the Nagas. So if you look in Indian mythology, and not Indian like of American Indian, India
Hmm.
over in like the Hindus and stuff like that, like, and that
Right.
that those Indian people. Because at one time, like I said, the Hebrew people of America, or the Americans, was the first people, or the Mayans, they called it that too, was the first people to travel the world. So in Indian mythology, they say the Nagas came and taught us everything. Buddha was a Naga. When you look at the NAG or NG, when you look in Egypt, it's a emperor or emperor for the word NG. And Naga go back to like Netter and nature. So, I know it's in West Africa, far as Nigeria, but I always
Hmm.
looked at it like they came over here calling us Nagas. You know what I'm saying? And then Naga also, I don't know if you listen. You say you listen to Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I know he be saying something about Naji too, and I had read somewhere it was like we were called Nagas or Nagi. Our women was called Naginis, and we called ourselves Nagas and Naginis, meaning supreme being or universal being, emperor. And our women, we was Nagas and Naginis, and or Najis and Najinis. And that where the term genie come from. They the same word Naga Nagini or Naja Najini, but that where the term genie come from, Najini, the divine feminine energy that is the black woman or the Aboriginal woman, because she's the first woman on earth, as we the
Hmm.
sacred masculine. Because we the
Right.
first being on earth. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's a perspective though, like far as the Naga. See, I guess when it come to nigga, I'd be like, say it, say it, say it, say it, say it, because I'd be like, it raised the energy, because I feel like it's a divine word. That's what they was trying to take it, but I do think we need to
Yeah.
change the energy of
Yeah.
the perception of the word if we is going to it. Like, because a lot of people say, like, if not even West African, a lot of people like ignorance or dumb and stupid. But for my take on it, I think I think it's more of a divine word though, and uh, you know. But like I said, it could be a lot of different things on that.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to cold turkey myself from it because a lot of our ancestors, man, went to the grave hearing that last word, bro. And like now that you get older, you really begin to realize, like, damn, like I need to, get this out my vocabulary because of the fact it was a lot of our people that died, being lynched, being shot, being stabbed.
Yeah, murdered from the hate
Yeah,
was said. But see, I think the hate, from my perception, from the way I had built up to learning it, uh, I think they was doing that because when they got here, we work our society because the Nagas like you lived off this divine serpentine energy, or you ever heard of Kundalini?
yeah,
Yep, we all got the Kundalini energy, and the Aboriginal man got full access to the Kundalini. Where we like balance between our divine and our divine masculine, and our divine feminine. We have divine access to the Kundalini energy. So when it came to that Naga energy, when these people always looked at us like as they were saying it as a way of hate, like you something different. Remember, they say the aliens built the pyramid because they look at us aliens because really our minds in a higher state can tap into so many different things, and we tapped into all different type of things. So I think that hate when they was burning us and calling us niggas, it came down to looking at like, oh, was something wrong? But it's really because they hated us for being the true word or the higher vibratory word where nigga come from of being a naga. And that's where we come from though. But like I said, it all be different things. Knowledge is from a different thing. Cause I know, like I said, I see the word Niger or nigger, Nigeria in West Africa. So from my looking at it, it's this book called Serpents of Wisdom. It's talking about how the Naga people was all around the earth, and they every society ancient from hundreds of thousands of years ago, they called themselves Nagas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of just funny that that word is still here in this world even today at we obviously would be vibrating at a low rate. So I think that's, you know what I'm saying, I think that's why sometimes black people don't let it go, because it's maybe a part of we got to change the perception of it, definitely.
Yeah.
And a lot of people die because they definitely hate change the perception of it, but and a lot of people have died, been murdered and killed, but it's died, been murdered and killed from my perception because they hate us and who we are, though. But I think it's definitely an interesting conversation to have on that, though, like far as that word, because I think the word is something, when you look into the origins really of it, not like you said, they flipped everything around. They ain't telling us the real thing on everything. Because what would make that come to their mind just to start calling us a nigga out of nowhere? You know,
Right.
it, I feel like because we was already called Nagas, and that was nigga came from a different derivative of a Naga. And the Nagas are the divine people of the earth, and the Nagas are what the Aboriginal people call themselves.
Yeah, and they probably was dumb as hell, so they couldn't pronounce the word, well, the real interpretation of it. So what I'm saying? They probably did,
Yeah,
you
and at
know.
the end of the day, but they have put a lot of hate to the word. They have put a lot of hate just within our people and our communities, anyways. And I think that's going back to just a retribution. Like at the same time, why God will, if I believe in the Most High, I don't care how whatever religious people. I'm a spiritual person, so I'm not really a religion person. I just believe a divine creator, really know a divine creator created this whole universe. So what spirit who created the whole universe, and if the Aboriginal people or black people are the first people on earth, what God would want us to know our true history or what's really going on, though? So at the end of the day, I think these people, we got to learn that so these people can pay us what they owe, so we can build our own stuff.
Yeah, and I love Muhammad Ali, because Muhammad Ali said this. He said, um, "How can I, you know, be happy here when I don't have anything for myself? Like I got to depend on you for everything. Like
Yeah,
your gas stations may not work, or your place may close down. Like I'm dependent on you. I got to rely on you
right.
and our people. And we really think like we rich because we own all this, because we're not broke people. We just disorganized with our money. Like we
That's what
just
it
foolish
is.
with our money. But we are, the most spending. We have the highest spending power in the entire world, Black
Exactly.
Americans. Because
And that's powerful, and we don't see how powerful he is. Like and also another thing with that, like the most spending power, we took that and put all that together. We don't understand the other implications of that. Actually, we
hmm
one of the largest group of black people on earth within the United States, and black people got to understand that we one of the largest groups of black people in the United States, or Aboriginal people.
hmm
United States clocking in at 50 million. They tell us it's 50 million of us in the United States. In the country of Nigeria, it's only 33 million people. Canada only got 32 million people. So they always tell us we the minority, but we're really the majority if you start breaking it down. And here's why. This is how you kill deception, because everything, they have so much deception within everything. They tell us we the minority at 50 million people. They call us a minority. But I'm going to tell you how we the majority. How we the
right,
majority. If white people, if you take the white race, you let's take race away and put where really ethnicity, so we can see who the largest people in this earth. If you go with ethnicity, under white people, you have Germans, German Americans, you have British Americans, you have Russian Americans, you have Italian Americans, you have all these different Americans. So they're just different nationalities of white people. So that would be different millions, millions, and millions to add up, how they say, wherever the large population of quote unquote white people or European Americans. You take Hispanic people. They say, oh, the Hispanic people is taking over you guys. They're going to be the largest race of people. Hold on. If you break those Hispanics down, you have uh, Puerto Ricans. Well, the largest ones are going to be Mexicans, because at one time Mexico, America, certain parts of America was Mexico, and they still coming over. So you got the Mexicans, but you also got Puerto Ricans going to that number. You
hmm
also have Cubans.
Yep.
Going to that number. You also have people from the Dominican Republic or lighter skinned Hispano the mixed Dominican Republic, because you also the black Dominican Republican people, just like in the United States. But when you go
Yep.
to black people, you only got black people in the United States. I'm talking about you only got the blacks. Now we do got, of course, Africans over here. We got Jamaicans, but Jamaicans are even still American. Haitians are Americans. People don't know Jamaica and Haiti, all that shit in America. But when you're just looking at black Americans by itself, it's probably 40, 45 million of us. We're the largest singular group because they took our tribes away. We only one tribe of people.
Hmm.
We just us. We're the majority. And that's the illusion. We're the majority. And you know what I'm saying? But they got to keep that down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're the majority and we're the minority. But when we start breaking the numbers down, we're the largest singular homogenous group in the United States. We're homogenous,
Hmm.
We're the largest single group of people, so that's the thing of it. So that shit neat when you really think about that stuff though. But they got to keep that statistics down, because then we get together as the largest spending power and being the seventh largest group of black people on earth, or at the seventh largest group of Aboriginal people. We build our schools and we build our banks. They don't want you to know that information because that's powerful. We already the most, like you said, got the largest spending power. Think about, we take that power and build our own treasuries and our own banks. But we got to move like a tribe. That's why I'm saying it's important to understand we a tribe of people, and we got to build our own banks, schools, and everything under our own tribal government. So I think that's the solution to get to all the power and everything we'll need.
Oh, absolutely. And to be real, man, we have to get rid of half of our people too, because
Yeah.
that mindset.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's never going to be a movement where some people going to reap the benefits of things that they ain't going to do nothing for. Some people is not going to want to change. Some people, but I think in the next 7, 8 years from where I've been studying, like I said, and when I first got on this journey, you know what I'm saying? And it might be somebody who getting on this journey now, because I think like you might got on it when you got on your journey and started learning knowledge and information.
Hmm.
Did you kind of at first have to fight like, damn, am I tripping? Am I, you you have to really be like, okay, like this real. So
Yeah.
people go through this journey and stuff, and as you keep going through this journey and understanding, it's really a journey of pretty much finding the truth. And some people just not going to accept that truth. Some people, the journey can be presented to them all type of ways. They're just not going to accept the truth. They don't want to know about their history. They don't think knowing their history is going to be able to change their future. Some people just don't care and matter with that. So with those aspect of people, you really can't focus on, because it's never going to be 100% of people who going to hop in and be like, they going to help. If they get in the way, they going to have to get the fuck out the way. But outside of that, you
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? People going to have to build who willing to build, because it's many spokes on the wheel. It's just not one spoke. So the ones who willing to turn the wheel, go ahead and turn it though. Everybody not gonna be a historian. Everybody's not gonna be what I'm saying, a healer. Everybody's not gonna be that, but it's then for the people who are that to take that and build the foundation and build the leadership for our communities. Oh, and that's throughout everywhere. That's not just Saginaw, Dallas, or everywhere, all throughout our United States of America. We got to build our own communities and build one together, though. But it's not going to be all inclusive, and some of them going to have to get out the way, because some of them going to be want to be a part of the problem, because they like this shit. This shit, it benefit them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It don't benefit the masses of when are we burying our kids. People dying, killing, murder is lower vibration. Every time you turn the news, somebody getting shot, the police killing you. They don't respect us. So they're going to have to come to the thing. We got to put our purchasing power together, because America, the European people have a plan. The European people win power, and they're going to move forward with it.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna either get a plan now today, or we're gonna get it later on, and we're gonna find it in the midst of chaos. But they moving forward with their plan. They are bringing in a digital currency, and they're gonna bankrupt America. They're gonna make this currency fall. They're gonna destroy this system and to try to bring in this currency,
Yeah.
and and like we're not probably invited to that. This probably the thing. So people got to be understand. It's gonna come a time we got to create our own. I feel like we're gonna be pushed back into creating our own, because eventually, they got a plan, and the COVID, all that shit, they pushing towards their plan. So that's what it is.
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah. Cause we was on the first money.
We was.
Yeah.
Because man, it goes so deep, man. We going tonight. This shit good, man. This shit good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we was, because this is our land. Let me tell you that, man. Really, America. Going back to what I tell you about over in Eurasia or Europe,
Hmm.
but Europe is just Western Eurasia. Uh, the Hebrew people used to rule over there. So a lot of our ancestors who were American ethnicity but was living in Europe, and they was calling them Jews and Moors, which are the Hebrew people. Some of them ran back here. Some people ran back here and colonized, but some people ran back here and clicked up with the indigenous people, or the Indians. Remember, the Indians was already fighting from 100 years, or since 1492. The indigenous Americans who have been living here since the beginning of time was already fighting the Spanish Empire, and the French and England had started coming over here. So a lot of the Moors who was being persecuted by the Roman Catholic Church, or the Jews, they were running over here. So they helped build America. They helped build the American government. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So a lot of things, it was on our money, because some of our people got to the point like, well, shit, we're gonna have to pretty much just go along with it, because they, at this time, they had conquered the whole earth. So yeah, we was on the money because it's our land. It's so much. It's a pyramid in Saginaw. They call it. You go down. You ever ride and go over the South Side Bridge? I mean, I swear to God, this is a real experience happened to me. I was going over. I was asking God about the Aboriginal thing. I was talking with them myself, rather, and I was like, "Man, is this real? Give me a sign." And I looked to the left of me. I was going over the South Side Bridge in Saginaw, and it was a pyramid, a step pyramid, just like in Mexico and stuff. But they're all over the Midwest. They're all over North America, pyramids and mounds and earthwork structures, because this is our land. You know what I'm saying? And I looked up and I started researching it to make sure it was like I got a music video called Love, and that's where I'm in front of that mound and that pyramid. And then when I looked up, it's an archaeology site. I'm gonna tell you how. It's an archaeology site. And they went inside the tombs of this shit back in 1922. It calls the Shut site in Saginaw, and it's right at the the confluence of the Saginaw River and the Tibbawasi River. So I used to go there all the time. A lot of people go there to get a peace of mind, because if you go down like Wicks Park Drive, it's on South Side, and you look
Mm-hmm.
across the river, it's a step pyramid right there. And these people know that it's a step pyramid there, and Michigan State researched it. Like, I in the last year, I started researching it, because I'm like, if that's real, let me really see. Because my spirit told me that what it was. Like I said, God, I was talking to myself, and it said, look across. And I looked over there, and I seen the step pyramid in Saginaw, Michigan. And I was like, damn. And when I researched it, they really excavated and everything. Now, if they have a step pyramid and they excavated it, one thing about the European people, they're going to have tourism everywhere. They will be getting money about anything they can motherfucking exploit. They're going to exploit it. They don't exploit the mounds, and they don't exploit the pyramids, because they don't want you to know them there. They don't want you to know the mounds and the pyramids are there. So they don't exploit that. You don't get exploited. You don't get the mounds and the pyramids. Like, you don't get to go visit them. You could go to Egypt and visit a pyramid. They ain't telling you about the pyramids in Mexico, which is America, Central America.
Yeah, of
I
course, of
tell you,
course they do.
pyramids here, this North America. They don't tell you about those pyramids. Some of the biggest pyramids on Earth is in America. One of the biggest pyramids on Earth is in St. Louis, Cahokia. It's
Yeah,
pyramids all over there. But they ain't lining you up for tourism for them pyramids, because now once you get them pyramids, you start connecting the dots. Then you start seeing the ancient language over here was Hebrew. And then you start seeing the faces on them that we are the Hebrew people. And this is legit, not just biblically. The biblical stories just line up, but we are really truly the Hebrew people. So they ain't gonna teach you about the pyramids, and that's when I say that. And the Hebrew people, our building is pyramids, and we built the pyramids over in Egypt, and that's why we were still there hundreds of years after Egypt for fighting the Roman Empire up to 1492. You know what I'm saying? The American people of America has the most beautiful and greatest history on the whole earth, and for them to take that out of history, that is complete deception. That is fucking diabolical by the Roman Catholic Church. That is diabolical by the Queen and King of England. Those people, the Queen died. You know, she a part of hiding your land and hiding. She knows pyramids all over America. I hope that wherever she at right now, I hope the spirit get her, get her ass. You know what I'm saying? You know, they know it's pyramids all over America, but they ain't gonna teach us on our whole school. They ain't gonna teach, and white people don't know this. They're not gonna teach you white people that, because white people we were the ones who were kind of protecting them throughout history, and then when all this shit happened, they gave them white privilege and power. A lot of them turned on us. You know, so yeah, they know America shit. They crazy.
man, bro. I think IG finna cut me off, man. We've been over like an hour on this live, but
Oh
um,
yeah,
do
man.
you
I
see that?
appreciate it, bro.
You see that timer? I think we spoke too much real shit. So they like, oh shit, let's cut these niggas off.
Right. It's like, it's time. You gotta go. I start sweating. I didn't got, But I appreciate you having me on your platform, bro. Thank you, man. Thank you for real, bro.
And no problem, man. Anytime, bro. Just let me know. I enjoyed
Yep,
this.
yep.
We gotta,
Man,
we
I
gotta,
enjoyed it, bro.
we
It
gotta
was a
do
lot
this
of good.
again.
We definitely got to do it again. Whenever you want me to come back on, I'll come back on and we'll chop it up. I got another show coming out called Perspectives and Objectives on my main channel. Imhotep the Great. I got 2 YouTube pages, Imhotep the Great. I'm shadow banned, so please people go subscribe to it. You're never gonna see my videos in algorithm. I got many videos on there. They deleted my first